So, Lucas, what do you think about high-end keyboards? Like, hmm, I'm not a keyboard collector, but I was like interested in keyboards at some point. At home, like in Montreal, I have a Newfie keyboard, like the low profile Air 75 V2. I wouldn't say it's high end, but yeah. I love the Newfies. They're so clean, and you can use them with iPads. Like it's pretty, if I don't want to bring my fat laptop all over the place, I can just bring my keyboard and my iPad. So they're pretty useful. Wooting. I have heard of Wootings. Mhm. Yeah, getting into high-end keyboards is a dangerous game because you spend so much money. Like you're gonna end up like just the wire itself for your keyboard like is gonna cost you like an arm and a leg just because it has like a cool like little metal connection thing. I forgot what the word is. And don't get me started about the keycaps. Have you guys seen those TikToks where it's like custom Pokemon keycaps with its like you guys know what I'm talking about? Like those super fancy ones that they use on like the keys on the top of the keyboard. Split keyboard, very ergonomic. Yeah, we all know the people in the office with the ergo keyboards. Honestly, I think I might try it at some point if I find a good mechanical ergo keyboard, like the custom resin ones. Yes, the custom resin ones. It's like I don't like I said, I don't collect keyboards, but like when I just see that, it makes me want to collect them because I see like if I see like a Gengar and like dipped in resin as a keycap, I'm gonna buy that, even if I don't even have the right the keyboard like profile, if that makes sense.
I
Gengar
see
my goat.
someone asked in the chat, sorry, um, if you have to pass the CTF, you only have to pass 4 out of 5. Not pass, but do well in 4 out of 5 of the quizzes, and the CTF is today's session's quiz. So, I guess that I hope that answers your question. But anyway, go on about your keyboard ramble.
Now it's transitioning to Pokemon. And Pokemon, you don't want to talk about Pokemon with me, okay? Don't even get me started on Pokemon Go. Uh-uh. Played that game way too much. I have bro. I have like 20 of them. They look so sick, dude. Because like they were so easy to get. Like you would join like any gym, and then the boss battle would be like armored Mewtwo. And also because if you wanted to get a shiny, like I tried to get a shiny Rayquaza I tried so many times. I think I might have like 30 Rayquazas, and I didn't get a single shiny. One of my friends got it on his first try. But anyways, what's your favorite Pokemon game? That's a good one. Uh, I think personally, I would say Pokemon Black because I'd say that's the only one I've finished more than once. But right now I'm actually playing Pokemon Yellow, like the OG on like my emulator, and that one's like pretty, it's once again when you're playing the OGs like that, they're very like very retro and they're not very like quality of life. It takes you like 10 years to move from like town to town. But Fire Red is great too. Yeah. Pokemon Black and White are both my fave. Yeah. I also have Pearl Silver. Um, and then I think I also, no, I don't have Gold. I also have, I used to have Platinum, but I lost it. And it sucks because like I played these on the DS and now like like a Pokemon cartridge on the DS would cost like $80, even more. And like I'm so mad that I lost my Platinum because it was like I love Giratina. Like it's such a cool Pokemon, one of my favorites, and I lost the one game that's worth so much, and now I can't experience it. I played it when I was younger, but I don't remember it. Brick Bronze. That was a That was like a fan-made game, right? Am I tripping, or was that even a Roblox game, or was Roblox a fan-made version game? Like, was a Roblox version of the fan-made game? I don't know. It was a Roblox game. Yeah, okay. What laptop am I running? Why can you hear the fans running in the background? Right now, I'm running like an old MSI gaming laptop. It's called the GF63 8RC. It's absolutely terrible. Like it's running a 1050 GTX. Like it's terrible. Like I boot up like not even if I boot up any game. Like I'll boot up Chrome and my laptop will start like revving up like it's about to fly off like a jet engine. So get those fans running. Yeah. It's at the age though where like this laptop is getting so old that like I kind of don't care if like it thermal throttles. Like I just let it heat up because I don't want the fans to be so loud. It's almost 6:05. Hmm. Oh, I missed that. Favorite starter. Um, that is a really good one. I don't know. I would say, um, damn, what game was it from? I think like Chimchar, like the little fire monkey. I find his full evolution super sick, like the little fire like monkey guy. Was it Pearl Diamond? Chimchar.
Okay, it's about 6:05, so I guess I'll get started. We had a productive conversation.
Yeah. Back to cybersecurity.
Yeah, back to what we're all here for. So yeah, this is a again, welcome to Level Up with C Cubed. So a lot of you guys might be new. You guys might not have attended the boot camp all 5 days. So if you guys are new, here's a little introduction, and if you guys are not, you've probably heard this again a bunch of times. But this is a 5-day cybersecurity boot camp, and so essentially we started on June 20th, and it's June 29th today, which is our last session. But today is going to be a fun session. So a little bit about us. We're C Cubed, and we're one of the biggest student-run tech organizations in Canada. And essentially, we're just partnered up with a lot of universities across the country, and we work with those universities and clubs and societies in those universities to kind of help them out with resources and support, and to unite all of them. So yeah, but we do have our own events from time to time, like this one. And so glad to have you all here. So this is a little overview of our schedule for the bootcamp. So today is our last day of the bootcamp, unfortunately. But again, if you guys do have any other events or things that you do want to learn in the future, we do have a feedback form in our Instagram bio. It's just a little short Google form. You can fill that out, and then we'll see what events you guys want to see in the future and try to implement those. But yeah, so today's our last day. We're going to be having a little fun challenge today, which Lucas will obviously explain more because I don't really, I'm not an expert. But yeah, it's going to be a little capture the flag, as a lot of you probably know. But yeah. So again, to reiterate, if in case you weren't here for the other sessions, these are just a few requirements that we do have for the people who did attend at least 4 out of the 5 sessions to obtain a certificate as kind of proof for your learning. So if you guys are here to obtain a certificate, just remember that you must at least attend at least 4 out of 5 sessions. So if you accidentally missed one, that's totally fine. And then also we require that you must complete all challenges within the deadline. So that is 3 hours after the session has ended. And then our third requirement is that you must attain an 80% average across all 4, at least 4 out of 5 quizzes to pass. And if you did all 5, that's great. We will only count the best 4, but do your quizzes, guys. They're really great kind of ways to test your knowledge. But yeah, So again, to reiterate, this is a few things that we do expect from you guys as learners. So we expect that you guys please remain muted when our facilitator is speaking. And again, your cameras are welcome. We haven't had many cameras on, so if you guys do want to turn your cameras on, we would love to see you guys. And then our second I guess request is that you guys ask questions in the chat during the session, and then if you want to ask a question during our Q&A session, you can raise your hand to speak with your mic, or you can also drop them in the chat. And then also, please maintain a level of professionalism when you're speaking to our facilitators, and that could be in the chat or that could be through the mic. Just remember that this is a learning environment. And our last notice is that our sessions may be recorded or streamed live. We are streaming on YouTube in case we do reach capacity on this meeting. So if you guys do want to watch that live stream, you guys can, and it's also going to be posted on our YouTube. But those who are watching the live stream on our YouTube, then you guys can ask questions in our Discord channel as the chat is closed on our YouTube stream. But yeah. So yay, back to our facilitator, Lucas, who you probably know. If you guys do not know, if you guys were not here for the other sessions, this is Lucas. He is a cybersecurity analyst intern at RBC, and he's going to be doing the teaching. So I'm going to hand it over to him. But yeah.
All right. Hello, everyone. All right. It's good to see you guys again today. And if you're completely new here, it's good to see you guys attending the last, but probably one of my favorite sessions, because we're going to be talking about hacking, right? And I'm sure many of us can agree that hacking is a very cool aspect of cybersecurity. So I will share my screen and we'll start the little lecture. Yeah, I'll share my entire screen. Hide this. All right. Okay. So just a quick recap of what we learned in the last session for those who weren't there last time. So we talked a bit about network security. So of course, networking is a massive beast in terms of concepts when you're trying to learn cybersecurity. So I tried my best to teach as much as I can to at least give you guys some good amount of context within, the 1 hour range that we had to teach you guys. But we had talked about IPs, ports, and protocols. We talked about firewalls and network segmentation, essentially how to protect your networks. We talked about packet sniffing and traffic analysis, and also lateral movement and attack progression. And I guess that's a pretty good topic to end it off at in session 4, because now we're going to talk more about hacking and how it can be used for good. So yeah, so this is today's agenda. So we're going to start off by defining what is ethical hacking, what is a CTF, and actually give you guys a live walkthrough of a CTF. Because for those who didn't know, today is going to be a practical session. You are required to, you're not obligated to do the CTF, but if you want to get the certificate, it is today's quiz technically. So, but anyways, and then some closing remarks, some resources, and also a career tie-in. Okay. So let's get started. Okay, so ethical hacking. So how can hacking be ethical, right? Or who is an ethical hacker? And it's essentially when someone does the practice of legally breaking into computer systems to find security vulnerabilities before malicious hackers can exploit them, right? So this might seem a bit counterintuitive, right? Because no company wants to be hacked, right? But so you might be wondering, why would a company want to be hacked, right? And the reason is, okay, of course, if it's a hacker that they've hired, this can ensure the security by finding existing vulnerabilities that live inside of a product or a service that they're about to release. And these hackers will report the vulnerabilities that they discover. So it will allow software development teams to fix those errors after they're discovered. So it'll essentially reduce the chances or reduce the vulnerabilities that hackers out in the wild could potentially, discover and cause significant damage to a business. So how do ethical hackers do what they do, right? How does it differ from just a malicious hacker? And the answer is not much. Pretty much the only difference is that they do so in a legal and controlled environment or on systems that they specifically have permissions to hack on. And they use pretty much the same tools that any hacker would really use, like including malicious hackers, because their goal is to emulate, or not emulate, simulate adversaries, to simulate a real cybersecurity attack on a service to see how, how it performs in that sense, right? And when does ethical hacking, when is it useful, right? So for one, it can be useful when deploying a new system, right? So say, for example, you're deploying a new type of service, right? You want to make sure that if that service is going public, that it can't be, susceptible to any type of vulnerabilities, right? And then there's also regularly scheduled audits. Another one is after a security incident. So like essentially what a security incident is, it's like, after you've been attacked, right? What a penetration test or like, what ethical hackers can do in that sense is to do a follow-up attack to try to see where things went wrong and try to understand further how they potentially, were able to follow through with an attack or like the attackers. And also during a compliance check. So for those who don't know, for lots of organizations, it's actually a standard for most organizations to conduct penetration tests. And the reason is, I'll give you guys an example. Say you're a very, very big bank, right? The government, because you're such a big bank, they'll make you responsible, or they're kind of holding you accountable for keeping lots of people's money safe and secured, right? So a lot of times what governments or certain agencies will enforce on organizations is certain standards or controls that an organization has to follow. So it notifies that organization that, your company is following good security practices. So one example would be the NIST framework, right? The NIST framework, if I'm not mistaken, is it 12 controls? But yeah, like the NIST framework is essentially a list of standards and controls that an agency or a company can follow to ensure safe, management of their assets and making sure that it's secure. And one of those controls includes penetration testing. So during compliance checks, they might actually just ask, are you doing penetration tests on your systems, right? Are you making sure that when you deploy something, can hackers out in the wild actually attack it? Like, are you making sure of that? And then also finally, another part where it can become useful is as part of a bug bounty program. So for you guys who don't know what a bug bounty program is, it's essentially lots of companies have a bug bounty program, and it's essentially what's the best way I can explain this? Because there's ethical hackers or penetration testers that can be hired from a company to hack their assets. But what bug bounty programs do is essentially offer that opportunity to like pretty much to the public. It'll allow you to like kind of sign up for the program, and then the company will be like, okay, now that you've signed up, here's our service. Try to break it, try to figure out a bug on it, and if you find something significant, we'll give you a nice paycheck. And these paychecks can get quite big. Like there is one hacker, or he's hello. I believe someone is unmuted. Hello. Okay, I think we're good. Just making sure I wasn't muted, because every time that happens, I get muted. Anyways, where was I? Yeah, like one of the #1 hackers of America, his name is Ryan Montgomery. I believe he said the biggest paycheck that he got from a bug bounty was like, I think $1 million, right? So you can just sign up for the bug bounty programs like Apple, I believe Microsoft, or like, Tesla has these. And it's like a good little side hustle for you to, use some ethical hacking for. So moving on. So there are different types of hackers, right? Besides just an ethical hacker. So ethical hackers are essentially known as the white hat hackers, the good hackers, or essentially us. We are the white hat hackers. But there's also hackers known as gray hat hackers. So these are known as the vigilante hackers, right? So before I go into detail about what that kind of looks like, there's also the hackers called black hat hackers. So those are essentially the bad, like the villain hackers, right? They hack for, to cause damage, to steal data, right? While the white hat hackers hack to discover vulnerabilities, to further improve the security of systems that they're trying to maintain. What a gray hat hacker would do is think of it like Batman. They're trying to do good, right? So they're using their hacking for good purposes, but they're doing so in an illegal way, right? So it's in between white and black because, they're doing good, but they're a bit of in the gray zone because they're doing illegal activity, So for those who know Batman, that's how you can kind of remember what a gray hat hacker is. Then there's also script kiddies. So this is kind of known as like, it's not an insult, but like it's a term that's often given to beginner cybersecurity specialists who are starting in cybersecurity. And it's essentially just beginners who use tools that they find online that they often don't understand, how it works or how it was made. And they often just go crazy with it and just cause, unneeded, like damage, or like they just kind of act as a nuisance because they just kind of use these tools for like, they're just script kiddies. They're immature. So that's kind of what a script kiddie is known for. So if you're like, a good example would be like, if you're just someone who, you buy a Flipper Zero, for example, and you just use someone else's script and you just start using it and start annoying a bunch of people, that would be a script kiddie because you don't actually know why the scripts are working. You just, copy pasted it and it's working. That would be a script kiddie. Then there is state-sponsored hackers, right? So if these guys are after you, you're cooked, because essentially what state-sponsored hackers are government hackers, right? So think of like, the United States, like the government hackers, right? They have those. They have those in the military. They have those in, I believe it's the NSA. I think in Canada we have that for. I think CSIS is our agency that has that is considered state-sponsored. But yeah, that's government hackers, and these are very, very powerful hackers because they are backed by a government. So oftentimes the work or the hacking that they do, they have licenses to do so. So yeah, and oftentimes when they're doing what they do, it's often in terms to attack other countries or to kind of fight back against very, very big cybercrime organizations. And then there's hacktivists. So it's basically in the name, activists, and these are essentially hackers who hack for for their own beliefs, right? So a good example would actually be Anonymous, right? So I'm sure many of you guys have seen this mask before. It's kind of like the icon of hackers. This is the mask of the Anonymous hacker group, and they're essentially hacktivists because I believe they actually started or like their big group kind of blew up when they were doing protests against against Scientology, because they had certain things about like censoring data online, and the Anonymous group were against that, so they were protesting against them and using their cybersecurity skills to troll or hack Scientology in that sense and protest against them. So that's a little example of what a hacktivist is. So yeah, now moving on to our next topic. So how can we practice hacking without breaking the law, right? So there are a few ways you can do this. One can be to set up your own home lab, or like, buy your own device, like a little Raspberry Pi that you can hack into. But the best option, in my opinion, would be CTFs. So Sparkle, CTFs, yes. So what are CTFs? So CTFs essentially stand for capture the flag. And CTFs are essentially, they can be an in-person event or a online event. And it's essentially events that offer hands-on hacking challenges where like sometimes it's individual or sometimes it's in teams. And those participants are required to solve security puzzles to find flags. So what exactly is a flag? Why would you hack to find a flag? It's not the actual little, piece of fabric on a pole. A flag in this sense is essentially a special string that proves that a team or an individual has successfully solved a task or exploited a system that the CTF hosts were trying to make you hack. And a flag, I hope this little progress bar here isn't blocking it. But as you can see on the bottom here, is it going to go away? Yeah, there you go. So as you can see, the bottom here, Pico CTF, this is an example of a flag. So flags will often look like this. It'll start with like a standardized part of the flag where all flags that you'll find during a CTF will have that at the beginning of a flag. So in the CTF we're about to do today, you'll see that all the flags start with Pico CTF. In other CTFs, it'll just start with flag in all caps, and then it's followed by just unique characters or like a funny little leet speech code. And one important thing that I hope you guys are listening for, because a really good trick in while you're doing CTFs is knowing that the first part of a flag is always going to be the same across all flags. It's a very good way to discover flags as well. Because think of like, I'm sure you guys are familiar with what Control F is. It essentially just allows you to look for a certain word inside of a document. So if you know that the start of a flag starts with Pico CTF and you have a really big file, you can just do Control F, or for the technical people out there, you can use grep to essentially look for that, that start of the flag somewhere in a file or within a directory. So yeah, just keep that in mind. That's a pretty helpful tool that's helped me a lot in CTFs. And yeah, so I'm assuming, I do know a few of you have actually done CTFs. There is one person, I believe, I don't want to get the name wrong, but someone has actually done or mentioned they did a hackathon yesterday and they got second place, which is amazing. But I'm assuming also a few of you don't know or haven't done a CTF yet. So you guys might be wondering, what type of information do I have to know for a CTF? And it usually encompasses a bunch of different types of cybersecurity and more specifically hacking concepts. So starting with web exploitation. So web exploitation is essentially just things related to web, more specifically websites. So, just having the art of hacking websites is something that you have to know mainly for CTFs. So some topics you might have to know in that is like, what is injection? What is, cross-site scripting? What is cross-site request forgery? What is the OWASP top 10? And then there's also cryptography. So that's just like encryption, hashing, encoding, understanding that. Of course, like breaking, encryption and stuff like that. That's very, very, a very common thing to come up in CTFs. And then there's forensics. So this is essentially, I guess I'm going to call it the art, because it really is an art of trying to extract data or a specific type of data from a type of, like any type of media, right? So it can either be a physical device that you're trying to extract data from, or a specific file that that you want to try to extract data from. That's what forensics is. And tools that you might have to know would be like exif tool, binwalk, or even stenography. Then there's also reverse engineering. So reverse engineering is essentially when you say you're given a application, right? And your goal would try to be to change or modify the code of that application to act in a way that that benefits you, right? So what's a good example I can give on the spot? I don't know. I can't think of one right now. But essentially, like if you wanted to have an application, or actually, yeah, okay, there is one CTF I have done where the challenge was like you were supposed to be against a chess bot, but the issue is that it was like a website, and the JavaScript was actually like on the client side, right? You could see all of like the logic that went into the bot. And inside of your dev tools inside of your browsers, you can actually use you can type in JavaScript code to manipulate the website that you're currently on. So you can kind of in the CTF challenge, you would essentially use that to like exploit or like modify the code of the bot to essentially automatically like get into a checkmate. That would be an example. But yeah, essentially what you would have to know about reverse engineering would be decompiling. So oftentimes when you download an app, they're compiled, and your goal would be to decompile them to be able to view their source code, or at least view it closely enough so it's understandable. And you can use tools like Ghidra to do that. And then there's one of my favorites. So this OSINT stands for Open Source Intelligence. So this is essentially just, once again, I would say this is like an art of being really, really good at finding information online that is public, that could potentially lead to, that could potentially be sensitive information or lead to some type of breach in information. So a good example, I actually demoed this, I believe, in session 3. Unfortunately, I didn't have the slides to show off a really good example of it, but Google dorking, which is essentially, very specific parameters when you're doing Google searches. So like, for example, if you want to look for API keys on GitHub, using Google dorking can give you all results, when you search something up, of API keys that haven't been added to their gitignore file, stuff like that. And then media sleuthing. So essentially, this is just a fancy, I don't want to say fancy, but just another term for like social media stalking. So this is actually a real life, threat, because remember how we talked about spear phishing, which is essentially when an attacker tries to phish a target, but would do so by using personalized information, or they would do research on that person before they do the attack. Media sleuthing would be something that they would use to kind of get like a background on a specific person. So like, where they live, their dog's name, what people they're related to and stuff like that. And lots of CTFs actually have challenges like that, where it'll be like, hey, like, figure out where John Doe lives, like what country he lives in. And it will be like, oh, like one of the photos he posted on his social media, if you download it and look at the metadata, it'll actually have his like coordinates in the metadata or something like that. That's an example. And then binary exploitation. This one's a very, very advanced topic inside of, hacking. It really takes a very good understanding of how like systems work at a very low level, and having a very good understanding of low level languages like assembly and like, C and C++ and stuff like that, and understanding how buff overflows work, and also, stack overflows and stuff like that. But yeah, this is some, mainly some information that you might come across during CTFs. So now, how do you prepare, right? So obviously, I don't expect you guys all to learn that, because it takes people years to even just learn one of those specific topics. So as a beginner, what are some things that I would suggest you maybe learn or get a bit of some surface knowledge on to start participating in CTFs? One would be to learn the basics of Bash and Linux commands. So this is useful because lots of cybersecurity tools that you'll use are command line tools. So knowing how to use Bash, or like, command line interfaces, like the most well-known being Linux, is very beneficial to being able to, do penetration testing essentially, and to use those tools. Second would be knowledge of popular hacking tools. And I would actually change the word popular, because lots of CTFs now are actually starting to create challenges, especially hard level challenges, where it'll use a very, very niche tool that requires you to do lots of research online to try to find and try to learn to exploit a certain type of vulnerability. But I guess as a beginner, it's definitely beneficial to just learn the popular hacking tools. So like Nmap, we kind of went over what Nmap was yesterday. It's a network mapping tool, and it's used for network discovery. And then Wireshark, which is a packet analyzing tool. Durbuster, which is essentially a endpoint enumeration tool, or like a fuzzing tool that allows you to find endpoints that aren't directly listed on a web page, but could contain some sensitive information. And then Metasploit was essentially, it's less of a tool and more of like a framework, but it's essentially, it's like a tool that has a bunch of pre-configured attacks, where all you have to do is just like state the IP or like the target that you're trying to attack, and it'll automatically check whether that device that you're trying to attack is exploitable, and it'll just run the exploit for you, and you can almost directly connect, or like, you like take over a device by using Metasploit. Of course, that's if it's a vulnerable device. And then also Burp Suite, that's used a lot for web penetration testing, and is personally one of my favorite tools. I use it a lot for request forgery. So say, for example, like when you're like say you're trying to create an account for something. I'm sure all of you guys have like tried making a password and it says, hey, your password needs to be like over 12 characters long. So one thing you can use Burp Suite for is you fill in, the login form, and when you press send, what it'll actually do is stop the request from being sent, and it'll be contained inside of Burp Suite, and your request will be like just in plain text, and it will actually allow you to directly modify the request itself before it's sent out. And that allows you to basically bypass the business logic from the UI by getting past it first. And then once it captures the request, you can like modify it after. And then if a vulnerable website's backend doesn't actually do input validation, that would be an attack, right? And that's what you would mainly use Burp Suite for. There's a bunch of other things you can use it for. And then there's also understanding basic networking. So this one's pretty much common, like, as to be expected. So, understanding IPs, what domain name systems are, what TCP and UDP are, ports, firewalls, and how services communicate. This is pretty much a must. And then finally would be to understand operating systems and system administration. So this one's actually a pretty important one because, almost everything you do in penetration testing, it requires some type of system, right? If you're hacking a specific computer, that's a system. If you're hacking, a website, that website is hosted on a system. If you're, right? So understanding how systems work, and once you, you gain possession or you take over a device, what do you do from there? Like, how does the operating system work? And how to navigate it. Because, once again, Linux, if you're going to use command line, navigating a file system is different than using Windows, which is just like it has an entire UI. And then also just system administration. So understanding, permissions, right? Like, admin permissions, understanding, users, and also how file systems work. So yeah, that's essentially what I would like, kind of some starter concepts that I would, learn if I were to start doing CTFs from the ground up. So now actually going into my personal experiences with CTF. So one very well-known CTF that I've gone to, which is actually the first one I've gone to, is NorthSec 2023. And NorthSec is actually one of the largest in-person participating CTFs in the world. It's not the biggest CTF in the world. I believe that belongs to it's not DEF CON's one. DEF CON has barely any people, but like essentially it's huge. It has hundreds of teams that are there in person. And it has like basically many of the, like, it has legendary hackers that are competing at this, so it's extremely difficult to win. And as you can imagine, it being my first CTF, it taught me a lot because it was designed for, they say it's designed for beginners, but to actually do well, it takes a lot more than being a beginner. And also because it's very big on, in-person participation, you also get to learn a bunch of other things, like here, for example, soldering. I actually learned how to solder at NorthSec 2023. I believe this picture was actually from the 2024 version, but I actually did it in 2023 as well. And another hackathon I've actually, or not hackathon, sorry, another CTF I've gone to, it's at Hack. They also had a workshop on how to lockpick, right? So that's a benefit of an in-person CTF, is because you get to do a lot of physical penetration testing as well, or learn a lot of physical types of tech in general. And yeah, that's me back in 2023 when I was in my first year of computer science competing here. So yeah. So now going into the secret sauce of CTF. So hold on a bit longer, guys. We're gonna get to the CTF, but here's some useful information besides also just preparing for CTF that I think that you guys could probably benefit from. Number one is when you're doing CTFs, okay, always, and I mean always, test the password when you're given a file with no context and it's requiring you to put in a password. This happened to me once, actually at NorthSec, when there was a locked file and we didn't know how to get into it. And we looked at a write-up like a week after the competition, and the password just ended up being password. So that was a missed opportunity. I told this to another student that I had a coffee chat with in the past, and he came back to me in like a few weeks later saying like, yeah, I just did a CTF, and that tip helped me get second place because there was one file that I needed to unlock, and the password was passwords. So that's one thing I would keep in mind. Second would be the challenge names. Okay, so oftentimes like challenges will have like a topic to them or like a name to them, and oftentimes these challenge names are a lot more closer to revealing the solution than you think. It'll often be some type of like reference to the technology that the service or the device uses, or like a reference to the type of solution that you need to resolve it. So that's something that I would probably look into or analyze when you're starting a challenge. Third would be to be suspicious of everything. So specifically for NorthSec, so I'm going to give you guys one more anecdote. The reason why CTF is such a good hackathon is because they make everything a flag, and I mean everything a flag. So I hope you guys can see this if I scroll in here. But do you guys see this little white thing here? This little like white rectangle? This is an alarm clock that they had at each table that basically just, you know, just told us the time, right? But it turns out like if you unplug it from the power and replug it, there's like a split second that during the boot up sequence, it will actually output a flag, and you'd have to like record it with your phone in slow motion to actually see. And it also was controlled by a microcontroller. So if you were able to disassemble the clock, plug it into your computer and, you know, try to analyze its code, you can find some some flags, or like reverse engineer it and find some flags that way. So, even at this type of events, the alarm clocks that are on your tables might contain some flags. So when you're at big CTFs like this, just be, suspect everything. Even just the soldering stations, right? The access, or like the badges that they would give to know whether you participate or not. Specifically for NorthSec, they make it like little circuit boards with LEDs and stuff, which is super cool. But one flag that they actually did in 2023 was like, if you went to the soldering station and soldered off the batteries of like this digital badge, under like the battery casing, there was a flag printed on the PCB. So like that just goes to show like they're pretty much everywhere. And that's like kind of like the fun of CTS, because like, you're solving lots of puzzles, and sometimes you might solve them without even realizing it. Fourth would be to walk the happy path. So one thing that I think a lot of beginners miss out on when they're doing CTFs is walking the happy path. And when I say that, it essentially means just getting an overall map or a overview of the system or the service that you're trying to attack. So say, for example, you're trying to hack a website. Walking the happy path would essentially mean like visiting every single web page that website has, clicking every single button it has, testing every single form that it has to see what output it has. Does that website have a chat bot? Try to see if you can exploit that chat bot. Like, try to visit every single corner of a website before penetration testing, because oftentimes it's the parts of the websites that are the least prioritized, or the least used, that are filled with vulnerabilities. Because oftentimes in in reality, like the least prioritized parts of a service are the parts that are disregarded in terms of conducting penetration tests. So that would be really good in CTFs, and it helps you discover flags very, very efficiently. And finally would be to use CTFs to learn first, then compete. So this I would actually change my wording a bit. Obviously, try to compete as best as you can when doing CTFs, because I know people who have done their first CTFs and have actually won. But the thing about certain types of CTFs, especially if they're meant for more experienced users, is that you won't even be able to solve one challenge. And the thing to remember is to not be discouraged from that. And if you can't solve anything, it doesn't mean that you're a bad hacker. It just means because you're supposed to use one tool that you've never heard in your life, and all these security concepts, but just because you don't know this one tool that released like 1 year ago that has like 5 stars on GitHub, like that's not your fault. So I would start off by just going to CTFs to just kind of understand, what CTFs are like, having some little like beginner starter environments that you can try hacking and using your technical abilities. And then once you feel like you've gotten some more experience, go full in, form a team and go crazy. So yeah, now we're gonna get into the actual practical part of this session. So today you'll be doing your first CTF for those who hasn't done one in the past, and we'll be doing so by using a service called Pico CTF. So I've never actually heard of this before. Like literally yesterday, I discovered this when I was trying to set up a CTF for you guys, and it is an amazing platform for you guys to not only learn, it's technically like leak code, but for penetration testing. And they allow you to have little classrooms, which allows things like us to have these little challenge CTFs for you guys to participate in. So I'll go into detail how to actually, start the CTF, and I believe that's actually the next slide. So yeah, so this is the part of the session that I'm actually going to ask you guys to be practical, right? So I believe the council will put the URL. Oh, I forgot to finish this. Ignore this red line. I was going to say something, but I realized it wasn't going to be used. But yeah, first go to play.picoctf.org and sign up. Right, I'm going to stay on this page for a bit, and I want you guys to try doing this now because towards the end of this session and after the session, you'll have like 3 hours to do the CTF. And I want you guys to have this set up so you guys can be ready. And when I'm going to actually demo how to solve one of the challenges in a bit, you guys can do it alongside me. So yeah, so go to this URL and sign up. Put in your email, put in your name. It's going to ask you quite a few bits of information like your gender, like your postal code and stuff like that. You can pretty much, I believe, ignore most of that. But yeah, just create an account and verify it with your email. Then after, once you've created your account, you're going to want to log in. Once again, I'm going to go over this like multiple times because I don't expect you guys to do this in like under 30 seconds. But then once you have your account, you're going to want to go to classrooms and join a classroom, right? Because for this CTF, for us to know whether you did the CTF or not, I actually created a classroom for you guys to join and chose 4 challenges for you guys to do for today's CTF. And to join this classroom, what you're going to want to do is that once you've gone to the classrooms tab and clicked on join classroom, you're going to put in the code CRD, all caps, lowercase d for uppercase D, JP, lowercase l. This is not caps L. This is a lowercase l. Just the font is a bit weird. Yeah, once you guys input this code and click join, you will be part of the class. So I'll leave you guys a few more minutes to set this up, maybe like 2 to like 3 minutes, maybe. Let me see whether you guys have done it yet. Oh, nice. Okay, I've seen some people have joined. I see Aya Debs. Could be Annie John, Faraz. Good. Raya Raccoon, Sleepy Leaf. Very good. And yeah, another thing to, we're going to be using Pico CTF for the CTF. And one thing I want you guys to keep in mind is that I know I said that, if you're going to be using tools or if you're going to be doing CTFs, you're going to need a lot of cybersecurity tools. But the great part about Pico CTF is that they actually have a Linux web shell built into the website. So you actually don't have to have a virtual machine set up or Kali Linux set up. It's built into the website. So no setup required. So once you start the challenges, you'll just be able to use that and get straight to hacking. And once again, it is 4 challenges. In the next slide, I'll go a bit more in detail about the challenges. But yeah, I'll just refresh the page, see how things are going. Okay, we got 2 pages of people signed up. Ali. J Kite, JJ Scars, very good. Okay, I'm gonna leave 1 more minute. Um, if you still haven't done this, or if you're running into an issue, maybe leave it in the chat, or take a screenshot of this page so like we can move on and you'll still have the code on hand. So uh, even if you've already done this, I would take a screenshot of the screen just because the code, if worse comes to worse, you can just refer to it again. Okay, so take a screenshot of that. All right, I think that should be pretty good for now. Okay, yeah, we have 3 full pages of people joined. Fantastic. So I'm assuming the majority of you guys have already set this up. So moving on. Okay, so before you guys start the challenges, right? Don't start anything yet, right? We'll walk through a few things first, right? So first, there are some rules about the CTF. So first, oh yeah, I forgot to change this as well. Well, okay, first of all, you have 4 challenges to complete, right? So you have Can You See? You have Head Dump, Super SSH, which this one I will actually demo with you guys live. So just to help you guys figure out how to, use Pico CTF and how to submit your flags, and then Useless, right? And I know it has medium here, but don't worry, all of these are extremely easy. I picked these because I believe for those who do have some type of like systems, some type of IT experience, or people who have used Linux, these should be fairly easy enough, enough for it to still be fun, but also for those who might not have Bash experience at all, it'll be enough, pretty simple to for you guys to just do some quick research. If there's a file in, in your current directory, and you don't know what command to use to actually, to analyze that file or whatever the case is, you can simply do so by doing it through Google. But yeah, also this comment right here must be completed, must all be completed before 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So just keep in mind, you don't need to have all of them completed to get the certification. But we would suggest that you complete all of them because, once again, this is a learning experience, and being exposed to different types of hacks would be very beneficial to you. I believe Can You See is a web exploitation one. Or no, Head Dump is a web exploitation one. Super SSH and Useless is just a basic general like Linux knowledge challenges. And I think Can You See is a forensics challenge. So it gives you guys like a few interesting ones that might not be too difficult for you guys. But yeah, then let's talk about if you get stuck, right? So I really don't think you guys will have an issue with this because I have faith that most of you guys are smart, and from most of you guys that I've spoken to, you guys seem pretty smart. So yeah, what I would do if you're stuck is once research on Google. Okay, please do not use ChatGPT. Once again, because a big part of cybersecurity and especially CTFs is being very efficient at finding information online, documentation, and learning on the spot. So research on Google is not only a good way to save yourself if you're stuck, but also a good asset or skill to develop if you want to start doing CTFs. And if you're still stuck, I would say reach out to me directly. And I would say do so through LinkedIn because it would allow me to, if you get stuck and I give you a hint, you say, like, for example, you've never used Bash before, I can give you a hint that's exclusive to you. So no one else accidentally sees the hint and gets the challenge ruined for them, right? So that's one thing I would keep in mind. And then finally, which final resort, and I really don't recommend this, but it would be to use AI. Realistically, if you're using AI for these challenges, I really don't think you need to. Like, these are pretty simple hacks, and like really they're just only like a few steps, right? And you can do a direct search. And better yet, you will actually have access to a cheat sheet that I created and will provide to you guys to help you guys out for the CTF. So now going to the next slide. So this is the cheat sheet that I have mentioned, right? So there is a full document that you guys can refer to with the QR code, or you can just type it out manually in the tiny, the little URL there, or the council might put it in the chat. But it's essentially just a cheat sheet of different commands that you might have to use across the challenges, different resources that might be, useful to you to explain things. And also on the full document, there are some little, less technical things that you might get blocked on. Just that's like relative to Pico CTF itself. So if you get stuck on those, there are some hints and tips on how to fix those things on this document. So yeah, moving on. So now let's go through the CTF walkthrough, right? So I hope most of you guys are ready to, you have your accounts set up. So I'm gonna actually demo one of the challenges, and I kind of want you guys either to just watch it, now and then do it later, or just follow through with me if you have two monitors. But yeah, let's get started. So, so now that you have your account, okay, you have joined the classroom, right? And you might be on a screen like this, right? You have joined the C-Cube Level Up Cybersecurity Bootcamp classroom. Great. So now, how do you get to the challenge, right? To the 4 challenges. So what you're going to want to do first, okay, is you're going to go to the Practice tab, and then the Assignments tab here, okay? All of these aren't the challenges that you guys have to do. This is just all the challenges that Pico CTF has to offer. You specifically have to go to Assignments here on the right. And then you will have the assignment here, where if you click on the dropdown, you will see the 4 challenges, right? And don't worry about the due in 4 hours. I know that looks like it's coming up really soon, but realistically, because I'm going to be demoing Super SSH to you guys, after this session, you guys will have like 3 hours left to do 3 challenges, and that's 1 hour left for each challenge. And it really took me like a minute for each one. So, and that's like not coming from me saying like, oh, like, that's not a cocky me saying that. That's like, it's pretty simple, even for new learners, to just quickly search up the solution, just so you guys can get the idea of what a CTF looks like. Yeah. So let's start with the first challenge. All right. I'm only going to demo one just to show you guys like, the flag submission process. So we're going to start with Super SSH. So yesterday's session, we talked a bit about protocols, and we actually had a little demo of SSH. And for those who who remember the demo from yesterday, this one's going to be very, very easy for you. And of course, these challenges also have their own hints, right? These hints are very, very they point very, very closely to what the solution is. So yeah, if you are really stuck, once again, you can use the hints here and also view the hints that I provided in that document from in the slides. But yeah, let's actually get into the Super SSH. I'm talking too much. So yeah, once you start a challenge, right, you'll see some information here, easy. This one's going to be on some general skills. And then you're going to want to do launch instance, right? So first of all, the description, right? You're going to want to read these descriptions because they will be very beneficial to the context of how to solve the challenge. So to start the challenge, you just want to click on launch instance, right? And it's going to take a second to update the description. And there we go. You have started the challenge, right? And you have 30 minutes until it automatically closes, but honestly, you won't even take a fraction of this time to complete it. So yeah, using a secure shell SSH is going to be pretty important. Can you SSH as CTF player to titan.picoctf.net at port 64671 to get the flag? You'll also need the password F3 blah, 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 blah. If asked, accept the fingerprint with yes. Okay, so let's quickly take a screenshot of all this information, right? It'll be apparent in a second why I'm doing this, but okay. So now it's asking us to SSH, right? So remember from yesterday, I used SSH in a command line terminal or like in a shell, right? So how do we get that shell in Pico CTF? And it's literally right here, right? You're gonna wanna click on this web shell. Please don't make me log in again. Please. Okay, I think we're good. Okay, yeah. So as you can see, it actually hosts a Linux system for you to use to do everything for the CTF, and it has all the tools that you would need. So no need for setting up a very complicated VM with a bunch of tools pre-installed. You just have it right here at your disposal on Pico CTF. So to do this challenge, okay, we're going to first use SSH, right? So remember, SSH is a protocol that allows, remote connection via a command line-esque type of connection, right? But it's also a command that allows you to initiate that sort of connection. So, and then we have to state who we're going to try to SSH to. So that's CTF player. And then we have to mention the host that we're trying to connect to. So that's Titan .picoctf.net. And then the port, right? So remember, SSH uses port 22, but you can also change what port is expecting certain types of connections. So in this case, the service that we're trying to connect to, right, or the host that we're trying to connect to right now, is expecting a SSH connection through port 64671. See, if I try doing it right now, it won't accept it, right? Also, a quick tip. I could just show you guys how to state what port I'm going to go on, but just like a quick tip for you guys who haven't used Bash in the past, there is a simple way for you guys to know how to use a specific command, right? And that would be to use the man command or the manual command. Let me actually, is there a way I can zoom in? That doesn't really help that much. Okay, I hope you guys can see that. So we're going to do man, which means manual SSH. And what this will do, it will output basically the usage of the specific tool. So right now we're going to look for the how to use ports, right? And as we can see here, okay, after SSH, we'd have to use -p to specify what port we're going to go on. See? Awesome. Great. So now we know how to do that. So we're just going to press Q to exit the manual. And then we're back here. So we're going to do exactly what we did earlier. Okay, SSH, blah, 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 and state the port 64671. Also, I'm very sorry for those who know exactly how to solve this. I'm sorry I'm being really slow. Just for those who, who might not have that experience, I want to go slow for all those people who, might want to understand a bit more about what I'm doing here. So, and then if I run this, right? Why are you not letting me through? Did I put in the wrong thing? Because ctf.net. Connection close. Let me just refresh this. So I'm going to do SSH. Oh, did I do SHH? SSH CTF player at titan.picoctf.net on port 64671. Okay, I don't know why it's doing that. Okay, I'm just gonna refresh my entire page. Okay, hopefully that did it. Because I literally did this earlier, and that is supposed to be it. Why are you doing this? No. CTF.
That's a wrong port, no?
Oh yeah, you're right. How did I get that? What the heck? 64671. Did I type that in manually? Oh, it's still not letting me. That is quite strange. Let me actually do this. Let me do this instead. I think the instance might be broken. I did this earlier. I had this bug in the past, so let me actually just debug it for you guys, for those who actually get that that same issue. So I'm just going to go assignments, blah, blah, restart instance. Just quick screenshot of that. Put that on the side of our screen. Okay, I'm just going to copy paste the port here just to make it easier. And we're going to go back here. Okay, so once again, SSH, ctf-player at titan.eco ctf.net on port. There we go. See, I just have to restart the instance. Sorry about that, guys. So yeah, so if it asks, are you sure you want to continue connecting? Press yes. And then yeah, now it's asking for the password. It says here the password is F3, blah, 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 blah. So I'm going to type it in, 61. Also, thank you for whoever who pointed out the incorrect port number. Thank you for that. Bang, look, now we see we got the flag for this challenge. It looks like this. So remember, Pico CTF. I hope you guys can see that. Let me put this full screen actually. So yeah, right here, Pico CTF, secure connection, whatever that says, right? So now that we've gotten this flag, we're going to copy this. Okay, make sure that we actually copied it. Yes, we did. Okay, and then we're going to clear our screen. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the assignment page, right? We're going to go to the challenge that we started, which is Super SSH. And then you're going to take that CTF flag and then paste it in here. Okay, and then submit the flag. Hooray, you have solved this challenge correctly again, right? So I've already solved this one, obviously, just so I can test to see whether this would be good for our little CTF today. So yeah, so that is how to do Super SSH. And I hope you guys kind of get the idea of how to use Pico CTF by starting a CTF challenge, how to use the web shell, and also how to submit a flag. And yeah, so that is pretty much as far as I'm going to go in terms of walkthroughs, because once again, this is this is your chance to test your skills, test your technical abilities, and see if you're able to solve these challenges. And one more thing I'd like to keep in mind for you guys doing this. There is, you guys might run into an issue where some of these challenges will require you to download a file. But when you download the file, it'll download it onto your personal computer and not the web shell. So if you refer to, let me go back to the notes here. If you refer to this URL, there's actually a little thing at the bottom of the page that will describe how you can actually download the files onto your web shell so that you can start using commands on it and analyzing certain files that you are needed to do for the CTF. All right. So yeah, so it is we're about 1 hour in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to answer questions for those who are stuck. Because as you guys just saw, I ran into an issue, so I'm hoping that none of you guys are running into issues right now. So I'm just going to look at the chat and see if you guys have any issues. The password won't show up, but you can still type it in. Yes, that is a fact. This is technically a security feature that they implement because, if you're doing a demo, technically, if you give away the amount of characters that are in your password, that can be a security risk. So that's why they don't do that. I just use my VM lols. Does that actually work? I mean, I don't see why it wouldn't. Yeah, I guess that would work, right? I guess it's just an IP, right, that you're connecting to. Everyone has their own specific port, so check your website. Yes, that is a good thing to remember as well. Good remark. That was a bad joke. But yeah, essentially, the things that I showed off in my demo, it'll be different for you, of course. So don't copy the same things down. You actually have to go through with the process and copy and paste those values for yourself to complete that challenge. Jason says, this worked for me, SSH. Yes. Yeah, once again, the values are different. Done with the 3 easy ones. Awesome. Yeah, so as you can see, most of these are very, very simple Actually, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen for now and just show my face, because now I'm just doing explanations now. But yeah, so like I'm gonna take a few minutes just to like look at chat, maybe remember a few few tips that I can give you guys to maybe help you guys out with the CTF, and then we'll actually follow through with the rest of the session. So yeah, for attendance, C3 is only using the emails we use on the account, right? For attendance, I don't know exactly what you mean. Oh wait, my camera's covered. Oh, whoopsie. Yeah, so essentially Nikita said, done with the 3 easy ones. So these, once again, these CTF challenges are very, very simple. And the medium one is actually surprisingly one of the easiest ones to do out of the ones I've given you guys. It's just kind of like a little curveball. But yeah, and also I would, there is one step in one of the challenges that you guys might get a bit stuck on or don't know what to look into further, because like, I don't want to give it away. Maybe nearer to the end of like the deadline, I might help you guys out if some of you guys are still stuck. But refer to the resources, because if there is, remember, if there's any type of information that's unreadable, it's a very good sign that that is something that you need to apply a certain type of thing to. That's all I'm going to say. That applies to one of the challenges, and I'll see if you guys can figure that out. The SSH1 says connection refused after refreshing it. Also for those, for the attendance, the council also put a URL form in the chat. So if you've already done, you can fill in that form, and yeah. Hi, I'm still stuck at signing up step. Oh no, it always says please try again and check. Oh yeah, I've actually had that bug. Just like keep on spamming login or it's like sign up. It'll for some reason when I tried logging in a few times, like it'll say like try again, an error has occurred. If I just keep spamming it, it'll actually just log me in. I don't know why. Try that. If you're still having that issue, let me know. It's not letting me make an account. It's saying error server did not respond. Server did not respond. Let me see. Let me check the website right now to see whether it's still up, because that would be terrible if they all went offline. Could you please share the slide again with the resource hints? Yes, I will actually copy paste the URL in the chat, so you guys can directly refer to it. There you go. It's basically just like a Google Doc file. And the reason I made it a Google Doc is just so after the session is done, and you guys, say for you guys are still doing the CTF after 8 o'clock EST, for example, I can still modify that file. URLscan.io. What, you think my link is a phishing link? Huh? I would never. Only that one time, right? Only that one time. I do not have any monies in bank. You can share with me. I would love to share you money, but I don't have any monies in my bank either. But yeah, Sahan, I did put the URL in the chat, so I will pin that right now. No problem. For the people who are still having issues with the login, how's that going? Are you guys still having that issue? San says, I do not understand what you're supposed to do for head dump. Okay, so head dump, that is one of the web exploitation challenges, right? One little hint that I'll give for everyone is that remember one of the tips I gave you guys for doing well in CTFs is to walk the happy path, right? So And also, guys in the chat, please don't give the solutions away. Don't do that. There's nothing, I can't stop you guys, but don't do that. Yeah, just like walking the happy path and seeing how like every single nook and cranny of a website. And oftentimes that will lead to a part of the website that isn't necessarily, you know, listed or isn't normally supposed to be listed on the website. Have a nice day in the park. Yeah, because honestly, the like walking the happy path is like, think of it this way, like you're just kind of like frolicking around. You're not really supposed to be like being a tryhard in this stage. You're really just supposed to like, especially if you're using Burp Suite, what it does is that like when you're on a website, depending on like how you connect Burp Suite to your browser, it'll actually save every single endpoint that you visit and also save the assets that are loaded when you visit that page. So after you've walked the happy path, it'll kind of create like this file structure for you to actually, you know, analyze the different endpoints, see what type of assets are loaded, you know, what PNGs are loaded when you visit them. But of course, for Pico CTF, you don't need to use Burp Suite in any way, shape, or form, at least for the challenges that I gave you guys. So don't apply that for this CTF. So Pico CTF flag is the answer. Depends on what you mean by that. If it's like Pico CTF and then within curly braces, it's like a bunch of like you know, a bunch of funny looking words, that is the flag. And you will have to go back to the same window that you accepted the challenge and copy paste that flag that you discovered into the little submission box at the bottom of the window and then submit it. And if it's the correct one, it'll mark that challenge as complete. And also keep in mind, guys, that there is a timer on this challenge, like on these assignments. So after it hits 11 EST, I believe I set it to 11 EST, I believe you guys will lose access to it. So, yeah. But anyways, not to worry you guys at all, because you guys are a smart bunch. So I trust you guys to actually finish that. Yeah. So like basically what Jason's saying, it's not actually one of the answers, but it'll look like that. Yeah. So once you see something that looks like that, you will copy paste that and submit it. Still can't make an account. Rania. Okay. Rania, could you try add me on LinkedIn and send a screenshot of what you're getting so I can maybe see what you're running into? Because I do know that Pico CTF is quite finicky, but I just want to know at what point it's giving you the error. Like if it's just like even accessing the register page at all, or like after you've put in all your information to create an account and you press submit, then it doesn't let you create an account. But actually, let me try doing this. Let me send you a different URL. Pico CTF. Pico CTF. Log in. Yep. Okay. I'll put this back in chat. Okay. So what's it, Rania? Yeah. So here's the URL for another register link. I don't know, maybe you are on a different one, but try clicking on this. If it still gives you the issue, try using a different browser. So if you're using Chrome, try using like Edge or like Firefox or something like that, if you have it installed. And if not, go into a private window and see if that changes anything. And also, once again, guys, remember, I know you guys aren't necessarily doing that, but don't give away the answers or the solutions in the chat. I know it's tempting, but where do I write W get? So Gavin, so remember how I showed how Pico CTF has its like web shell and it, gives you kind of like a terminal, right, for you to type things in. what you want to type wget for is you're just gonna, like, at the start of your command, type wget, okay, space, and then the URL of the download file, right? Once again, if you view the document that I shared with the cheat sheet, it'll actually give you a screenshot on how you can copy the download URL and download it onto your web shell. Thank you. No problem. I hope you actually solved that. If you still don't know how, just ping the chat again, and I'll share my screen and I'll show you what it could look like. Let's see. Did I miss any questions? Shiv says, but what if you're done all of them? Then you're pretty much. I mean, I would say you're pretty much free to go. We are gonna do closing remarks. But I'm just leaving a bit of like leeway for you guys to, you know, kind of ask questions while I'm here on the call. And then we'll do like around, you know, halfway through the hour, we'll do some closing remarks where, yeah, we'll finish off the bootcamp series. So, but yeah, sorry, I guess if you want to see that, you'll have to wait a bit. I know that sucks, but I guess that's like 10 more minutes. So yeah, we'll do that at 7:30. Okay. So just yeah, for those on the council, don't fall asleep on me. So at 7:30, I'll hand it off to you guys, whatever slides are left. What if I cannot do all of them by 11 p.m.? So I believe that you don't have to complete all 4. Like, think of it this way: if you got like an 80% on all the quizzes up to this point, technically you don't need to get a perfect score on the CTF to still get the certification. I believe, I don't want to give, like, I don't want to say something incorrect, but like, yeah, if you did well on the quizzes, even if you don't finish all the challenges, it'll be fine. But also, if you really can't solve it, once again, just like text me, because once again, these challenges, like, I'm basing it off of what I estimate you guys to have in terms of knowledge, in terms of like computer science and cybersecurity. So like, I see some people here that are like, you know, university students in computer science, but also for those who, you know, who are in their first years of computer science who haven't learned how to use Bash. Like, I can just help you directly. Just ping me on LinkedIn, and if you really get stuck, I can maybe give you a few hints. I can copy paste the link after typing wget. So what you can do, Sneega, is you can try to, like, once you get the copied URL, do right click and then paste it. Don't use Control V, because I think that might bug it out. Use right click and then paste instead. I think that's often what I do when I use a terminal, and it'll paste it that way. John says, for the can you see challenge, if you can answer this without directly giving me the answer, what does the first hint mean by viewing the information about the picture? I tried using the convert command, and that gave me a lot of information, but none of it is inherently suspicious. Oh, wait, that was the I tried using the convert command, and that gave me a lot of information, but not suspicious. What are you using? Actually, no, I don't want to. John, text me on LinkedIn. Text me on LinkedIn. I want to ask you what you did, but I don't want you to start saying everything in the chat. But yeah, text me on LinkedIn. Actually, let me check my LinkedIn messages to see if anyone's messaging me. But yeah, I will say that the Can You See Me challenge, that one takes a bit of, like, it's not luck. I would say it does take a bit of like suspicion, right? Because remember how I say, like, you need to be suspicious of pretty much everything. And I also mentioned that if you're looking at any type of data, right, and it's like plain text, like you can read the majority of it, but there's one specific part of it that looks like it's complete gibberish, that's probably a hint. That's a hint that like it's either, you know, in a different type of like data format and stuff like that. So like, for example, if you like if any of you guys know what like JWT tokens are, like I believe I won't go into detail. I won't go into detail. I don't want to throw you guys off. The convert command. I will say though that for the for like all the commands that you need for these challenges are on the cheat sheet, right? There are like obviously bash, there are like hundreds of ways you can do things. But the commands that I gave on the cheat sheet are you are most likely, you know, able to solve the challenge by just using those alone. I just won't state which ones are which. That's up to you to search up. But actually, one of the resources that I've attached is Explain Shell. So Explain Shell is like a really simple website where it just allows you to type in a command, and it'll just give you a very, very dumbed down summary of how that command is used, right? So you can basically just search that up for like use Explain Shell for all the commands I put inside the cheat sheet, so you can maybe get a better picture of how to use them. Oh, there are more questions. Whoops, I wasn't scrolling down. Go to practice assignments, take screenshot. Yeah, so once you've completed all 4 challenges, try to take a screenshot of all of them, right? I believe even if you run out of time, like that's even if you are doing it to the very last minute, still take a screenshot of the challenges that you've completed, because once again, if you've done well enough in the other quizzes, and I believe if you have 3 out of the 4 completed, you can still get the certificate, depending on how good you did on the other quizzes. I missed 1 session, other 3. I believe I did good on the quiz, and I can't really solve some of the CTF challenge. Can I still get a certificate? You can still get the certificate. Like that's what I'm trying to say. Like if you want help, like just text me on LinkedIn. Like I just don't want you guys to like directly have these conversations in chat, because I don't want to give it away to like everyone. Like some little hints, but yeah, like Lucina, just text me on LinkedIn and let me know what challenge you're on, and I can maybe give you a little pointer. Because also, once again, like even if I help you guys out, this whole thing is just to give you guys an idea of what a CTF is like. You know how they are often thrown. So I'm not really testing you guys for your skills and abilities here. Same for like just the certificate in general. We're trying to just give you guys the fundamental concepts of cybersecurity in general, right? So it's not like a OSCP certification where we're testing if you can like hack into governments and stuff like that. No. So if you need help, just ask me. And of course, if really like if I don't get back to you, once again, you can just use AI. But I wouldn't recommend it. Please don't use AI because personally, you won't learn that way. Like even if you use Google to search things up, you're learning a lot more that way through using AI. I'm trying to do, oh, whoops. I'm trying to do this. The thing is, I have my math midterm tomorrow. I did 3 quizzes and got 100% in them. If I am not able to do CTF due to my midterm tomorrow, can't invest too much time. Will I be able to qualify for the certificate? Once again, I mean, like most of the certificate questions, that will be for the council to answer, because once again, I'm not the one who's doing all like the calculations for that. But once again, I want you guys to get your certificate. So yeah. So I'm willing to help. It's almost 7:30. Will there be a walkthrough afterwards? Like essentially after this, like we're gonna do some closing remarks because like once again, for those who have already finished, I don't want them to wait all the way until like the end, like all the way till 8, at least like 8 EST to get the ending remarks. Sorry, I lost the internet connection. What if I can't finish the CTF by 11 p.m. or the deadline? Do you think I should just submit even if I don't finish it, or try to finish it and submit with the attendance website link? Like once again, you don't like, even if you don't complete the CTF, like you like if you do well enough in the other ones, you can still be eligible for the certificate, right? Unknowingly, I think I can only message you through LinkedIn if I get premium since I don't have you added. Huh? Oh, you sent a request. Oh, damn, sorry. Okay, I'll accept it. Sorry about that. That's so stupid that they make you pay for that. Where is it? There you go. Oh, damn, I got lots of them. Sorry about that, guys. No wonder I haven't been getting messages. I am so sorry. Okay, I just accepted a bunch of you guys, so shoot some of your questions. Hello, Jason. Mm-hmm. Super. Send a message to you. Okay. So yeah, it's about 7:30, so we are going to continue. We have a hand up. So yeah, before we continue, would you like to ask your question really quick? Did you ask a question?
Yeah, sorry. Lucas, you said explainable or like explainable. What was that website for the dumb down code?
Yeah, so it's do you have access to the bootcamp cheat sheet that I gave? The Google Doc?
Okay, I'll look into that. Yeah.
Because it's like in the resources section, it's the third listing, explainshell.com. It essentially just gives you like a very simple explanation of a command. Yeah. But yeah, so I'll keep answering the questions after this because once again, you guys still have 3 hours to do this. But yeah, we'll just continue with the final remarks. So yeah, so now we talked a lot about penetration testing and hacking. So of course, you guys are probably interested in careers that involve hacking, right? So obviously, number one would be penetration testers, right? So essentially, the explanation of a penetration tester is what I gave at the start of the session. Like they are essentially ethical hackers, which hack to discover vulnerabilities for the company that they currently work for. But there's also something called a red team operator. So red team operators often it's similar. They simulate adversaries, they simulate cyber attacks, but their scope is a lot more broader. So like what you'll even see some red teams do at like certain companies, they'll try sending out phishing emails, like handcrafted phishing emails to certain individuals to see whether they get caught. So that would be something like a red team operator. They're more full scope, like adversary simulation. And then there's a security consultant. So this is more something like you would do, freelance or like, being an entrepreneur. I know a few friends who have their own security consulting company, and essentially what they'll do is that they'll offer penetration tests to small companies who have never had a penetration test done. And essentially what your job would be would be to report and document all the vulnerabilities that you discover during your pen test. And then of course, bug bounty hunter. So we talked a bit about this at the start of the session. So like how bug bounty programs essentially allow you to participate for companies, not working for, but participate along programs hosted by certain companies to discover bugs or vulnerabilities on a new service that they released, and you can get a nice paycheck out of it. And it's a pretty good side hustle that a lot of penetration testers do. So yeah, those are a few career ties that you can do for hacking if you guys are interested. So also for some continued learning, obviously there is OWASP Jeep Shop. For those who were there yesterday, our guest speaker mentioned it, and it is a great source to do web penetration testing. Essentially, what OWASP Jeep Shop is, it's a website that is made to be vulnerable and has plenty of ways for you to hack into it. And there's actually like a little scoreboard on the website that it will tell you like, hey, try to hack into this part of the website. And there's like difficulty ranges, and it'll tell you, it'll give you little hints on how to hack certain parts of the website. And it's really great for learning web penetration testing. And then there's Over the Wire Bandit. So in the last session, when I did my little SSH demo, that host that I was connecting to, that was part of the Bandit Challenge. And essentially what the Bandit Challenge is, it's like a little kind of like a CTF, but it's to get you warmed up to intermediate to advanced types of bash commands and tools. So that's something really good if you want to learn a bit more about bash and how to use a terminal if you've never used it before. And then of course there's Try Hack Me. There's also Hack the Box, which pretty much today goes 50-50. Most people will say one is better than the other. But Try Hack Me is one that I've personally used to learn more about penetration testing, and the courses are free up to a certain limit. And they're very straightforward, and they have their own CTFs that they host on Try Hack Me. So if you want to learn a bit more about penetration testing, I would go check that out. And then of course, you can scan for the session 5 submission here down on the slide. So yeah, I would scan that right now if you have it. But yeah, I guess, yeah, if there's any questions, so I'm assuming most of the questions are for the CTF. So I'm going to try answering as much as I can on my LinkedIn as possible to try to help you guys out for those who haven't used, more technical concepts of cybersecurity. So I'll be answering those on LinkedIn. And of course, if you're stressed on time, you're short on time, of course, you can use ChatGPT. But of course, use ChatGPT wisely. Don't use it to just tell you all the answers. Use it as a tool to help you understand and learn further on how you can solve the problem. Yeah. So now, guessing, this is the final session for this boot camp. And I just wanted to say that it was amazing being your facilitator for this boot camp. I hope you guys had an amazing time listening to me talk and me rant about a lot of anecdotes that I've had throughout my my little cybersecurity, my early cybersecurity career, I guess. So yeah, and you guys were great. You guys were very polite and very positive. So I just wanted to thank all of you guys for the positive energy and reaching out with me on LinkedIn and saying the kind words that you guys have been saying. So thank you guys so much. If you want to stay in touch with me, of course, there's my LinkedIn and also my Instagram as well. If you want to stay in touch. So yeah, seeing lots of thank yous. Thank you guys. Thank you for coming. There will be a few words from the council from a bit. I'm just going to hand it over to them in a sec. But before I do that, I do see there's a question. There's a hand up. I would like to answer that really quick. Did someone have their hand up? Goat. I guess not. Okay. Thank you, Lucas. This was amazing boot camp. You did a great job. Thank you so much. Once again, like if you guys are feeling like, if you guys are freaking about the CTF, text me on LinkedIn. I will help you guys as much as I can. If it literally comes down to like the last few minutes, I would help you guys a lot, depending on how much you guys are freaking out. Because I want you guys to get this certification, because I know you guys are smart and you guys participated. So yeah, I want to help you guys out.
Yep. Thank you, Lucas. We really appreciate all of your hard work and all of your knowledge. So yeah. So thank you guys also for joining us, and Here's a bootcamps survey. Please let us know how we can improve our future sessions and what topics you would like to see, and just provide some feedback for us and Lucas as well, and our speakers and everything like that. And just scan the QR code for the form. Okay, so some bootcamp reminders. Complete the challenge by the end of the day after each session, which today's session is the CTF, will be due tonight at 11 p.m. EST, and which is 3 hours after the session. You will need an average 80% on all the quizzes and attend 4 to 5 sessions to receive the certificate. We will send out a resource sheet at the end of the boot camps after session 5. So yeah, the certificate will be sent within the next month, so please be patient for our boot camps team to get back to you. If you have any questions, further questions about our boot camps, or any of the sessions, quizzes, or anything like that, or even the CTF, please email us. Or yeah. So if our team is hiring for the following roles, if you'd like to join our team, you can scan the QR code to submit an application. Currently, we are hiring for Director of Events and Director of Outreach for the WITS, which is the Women in Technology Societies. So this is scan the QR code for the application form. And thank you for joining us. And make sure to follow us on our socials, join our Discord, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and get updates. And yeah. Thank you, everyone. Are we supposed to send screenshots of completion for CTF? Yes. So in the form, you will submit a screenshot of all of your completed CTFs, and so just make sure you submit that before the deadline. Are we doing showcase for the project? We did get a few project submissions, but that I'm not really sure if you guys want to show them. We could. That's up to you guys. The people that submitted, of course. The CTF, please submit it to the form in the QR code right here. So you need help for the CTF. You could also ask in our Discord server if you need the link. We will help you with that. Does anyone have any more questions for us?
Yeah, sorry. Could we get the survey link on the chat? Like
yes.
the bootcamp survey? Thank
Okay. Does anyone have any more questions? Okay, does anyone have any more questions?
Yeah, I posted a question in the
Oh,
chat.
okay. Okay, so
I also pinned it as well. It's nothing to do with the task. I've got it
yeah, I think
completed.
this is a question for Lucas.
Yeah, yeah. Hi. Sorry about that. Okay, yeah. So let me just read it. So, is the whole concept of CTF for use to explore and look for the flag as opposed to troubleshooting or mitigating any risks? Like pretty much, like the whole point of a CTF is like 80, no, not 80, like 98% of the time of CTFs, your goal is to try to attack a system, right? Um, so it's less of mitigating any risks, but troubleshooting kinda, right? Because there are certain like circumstances where you'll try to troubleshoot a device, for example, to see if it outputs like, a flag or something like that. Like I can't really come up with a better example than that, but like there is a lot of troubleshooting involved where you're basically just trying a whole bunch of different types of attacks, a whole different types of payloads, but it's less of mitigating any risks. You're really just trying to hack, like, hack at a system or whatever you're trying to hack as much as possible until you can find a flag. So yeah, does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. So like, you know how like in a hackathon, you have like projects you present at the end, and
Yeah.
then they basically get graded in that case. So
Hmm.
I'm guessing for the CTF, it's like usually people will go ahead and explore their own types of projects in a way, and then are they going to present their flags? Because like in this case, for us, the flags are what we have to look for.
Yeah,
So
that it's
they're supposed
exactly
to
it.
provide it to us.
So like let me give you a scenario. Okay, so a CTF, okay, like the whole point of doing a CTF is to practice your hacking, right? But to hack something, you need to have a system to hack, right? So what lots of CTF like host organizations do is that they'll actually design an entire infrastructure, like a server, a whole bunch of devices, either like remotely or like in person, for you to try to hack. And there are flags hidden somewhere inside of those devices. One example I'll give you is in NorthSec 2023. This was super cool. So most CTFs have like a theme, and the theme of this CTF was like you work for the Illuminati, and essentially you're like you're a worker, you're an employee, and when you start the hackathon, all they give you is just a URL. They ask you to connect like to a VPN and like access a URL, and that's it. Then from there, what do you do? Like the URL was essentially like a blog or like a forum website where it was just a bunch of fake employees saying like, hey, like I discovered this bug on this one part of the website, can you go check it out? And then your goal would be to check out that part of the website and see like, if you can bug it out more and see like if you break the entire system, will a flag come out of it, right? So it's less of you like developing something, it's more of you like the devices are already there, it's your goal to try to like hack into it, if that makes sense, right? And then once you get the flags, you need to like submit them, and yeah, pretty much the team who gets the most amount of flags, they win. So it's less of like a hackathon where you're developing. You're just really like everything's already set up. You just bring your laptop, you have all your hacking tools, and you just try to hack the devices that they've set up, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so you're just basically capturing as many flags as you can. And then
Mhm.
there's going to be there's not going to be an infinite amount of flags. So I'm guessing there's going to be like, let's just say 30. So the team that has the most flags, let's say 28 or 30, then they get to win. Is it based off of who gets there first or just?
It depends. So I think for NorthSec at least, like they have hundreds of flags. Like they have so many flags. Like I mentioned, they even had flags that were hidden in the alarm clocks for teams, right? But I think the way it works was like when there's a tie, which I think happened once, it's the team who got to that number first. So like if both the teams get like 160 flags, right? The team who managed to get to that point first is the winner, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah. So then for the instance where you said that there was a flag in the alarm, so there's going to be both hardware and I'm guessing software side of things then for
Yeah,
getting the flags.
yeah, like especially for in-person hackathon, or not hackathon, sorry, for in-person CTFs, there's lots of hardware related. Whenever you're doing an online one, which there are lots in the world that are online, but like when you're doing it in person, they'll actually introduce lots of like physical penetration testing challenges for you to do. Like I think also for NorthSec 2023, this is why I love this CTF. It's amazing. But they had like an ATM machine, right? An old ATM machine. And there's a vulnerability on that specific type of ATM where it's called jackpotting. So like you were able to go to a real ATM, use a real vulnerability that actually existed back in its time, and hack into it or like exploit it, right? So it's like it's both digital, so kind of like what you're doing right now for the CTF, like you're trying to connect to a device remotely, check the files inside, scan, like try to use some forensics to see what are things are inside of the file. But for in-person CTFs, it can even be physical penetration tests. And that's why I say, like, if you're going to do CTFs, always do it in person. Don't rely on like ones that are online, because like the ones in person, not only are you literally surrounded against like depends on the hackathon, but like you'll most likely be surrounded against surrounded by legendary hackers, especially NorthSec. Like there's probably like I don't know, if everyone in that room went rogue, like the world would probably end. Like that's how insane CTFs can kind of get. So I don't know, it's kind of like thrilling, but yeah, it does incorporate a bit of digital and like not digital, but like virtual and like hardware hacking. Yeah.
Got it. All right, thank you.
No problem.
There's another question here, I think.
Nikita?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Would you mind maybe demonstrating the results screen for screenshot submissions? Because I'm still a bit confused about it.
Oh, well, like, yeah, I wasn't the one who made the form, but I'm assuming what you want would be like, let me see if I'm logged in already, if I can just, if I can give you an example. Okay, yeah, I'll share the screen. Okay, one sec. If there's anyone left in the council, let me know if this is, oh, wait, they said something in the chat, but I'll still show you anyways to see, that might help, but, okay. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, so pretty much like, I'm assuming all you would really need would just be a screenshot of the following, like maybe of this, like of this. So you just see like the challenges, all the ones you've completed, just like that. Like you would, I don't know if you can see this if I try doing the screenshot. I don't know if you can see that, but like maybe something just like this, right? Can you see that?
Okay,
Me
I
trying to
see.
screenshot?
Yeah, because I was looking at basically the page with the practice where the challenges themselves are, and well, this makes sense. I guess it's just all
Yeah.
you need to do is follow this link and then take a screenshot of that, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
because like once you
We
submit the flag, this check mark says that it was solved. Like, so you don't have to take a screenshot of any of like the flags themselves or something or whatever, right? When you submit the flag, it'll say it's solved. So all you really need is just a screenshot of this and maybe with like the title here, and it'll prove that like you were able to solve the challenges.
just also make sure to show your little username thingy so that we know that you completed it.
Yeah, it's in the top right corner. So, okay, I got it. Thanks. That's pretty straightforward.
Lucas, do you know there's the video for the ATM one? Like the CTF or the ATA?
If there's a video,
Yeah, someone said there's a video for the ATM
oh, I'm still sharing my screen.
flag.
There's probably like a write-up about it. Like I know, let me actually search it up. Let me see. NorthSec ATM jackpot write-up. I think there was a write-up about it. I think I saw it once. There's one like, no, it wasn't that one. Was it called jackpotting? might be wrong. ATM network, no. Is it this one? I don't know. But yeah, like I might have a picture of it on my phone somewhere. But like, yeah, it was essentially just like a blue ATM and you were able to hack into it. And it was like, I don't know, that's awesome.